Hello again. Okay, this is the second part of my guide preview um, for the new WP Engine control panel, or it might be the old WP Engine control panel by the time you're watching this. Um, the next thing I'm going to show is how to set up a site completely from scratch through the control panel and whatever else you need to do to get it up and running. Obviously, if you already set up a site or you're super confident with this, you can just skip straight on to the next video. But if you're not, let's go through it now. Okay, so when you sign up with WP Engine, it will give you, they'll kind of set up one WordPress install for you straight away as part of the sign up process. If you go here, here you go, you can see how many installs you get. So if you're not clear, one install means one website. I know you can also have multi-site, which potentially can have more, but for the purpose of this, these are the number of websites you can run. So 1, 10, 25 for most people. Now, obviously, just on the basic plan, you can kind of skip the next step because you should have that already installed and set up for you. But if you're like me and you've got multiple sites or whatever, then this is, I touched on it before, but first of all, after logging in, you just hit add install, choose install name. It must be unique. It must be between 3 and 14 characters and not have any stupid symbols or stuff in, or spaces. Probably I haven't tried, but I'm guessing they won't like spaces. You can see here you've got this multi-site option. As I mentioned before, if you're not sure what multi-site is, or if you need it, then I strongly suggest you do not check this, and once you figured out that you do really want multi-site later on, you can come back and check it. Sorry, you won't come back and check it, but you can just let support know and they will set it all up for you, usually in half an hour, so let's go through right now setting up an install. So I will try and if this takes long waiting around for stuff, I'll just try and cut this video. So my cool new site. Okay, so let's call it my cool new site, which is at less than 14 characters. I don't know. Let's try. Okay, so let's see if it shouts at me or not. Okay, blam, my cool new site. Here we go, and it says your install is pending. In my experience, it only usually takes a few minutes. You'll get an email telling you when it's done. I'll go and check that in a second, but just one thing I'm going to point out. When WP Engine creates your new install, it automatically assigns this subdomain for it, so that way you can kind of access the site and start setting it up before you put your main domain name at it. So if I owned mycoolnewsite.com, it probably wouldn't, it's not going to immediately know to point to this. So I can go in, if it's a brand new site, I go in and set up my design, my theme, my plugins, my content, get everything looking just the way I want at this URL here, which might not exist yet because it's probably still being created. I see it's still being created, but they'll be there in a second. I'll show you guys. Get everything the way you want it, and then point a domain at it, mycoolnewsite.com, and you'll be ready to roll. Equally, if you've got a site with another host and you're going to move it in to WP Engine, then this is kind of your base where you can kind of import stuff and test it, but I'm not going to cover that in this particular video. So if I go and check my email, and I might have to do a bit of a funky time lapse for you guys, but let's just see if it's done it already. There's some crap. Paused about 2 seconds later, and you can see it's already arrived. So welcome to WP Engine, and it gives you some basic information, blah blah blah. So as I mentioned, you got the site URL. So this is kind of your temporary one. I guess you could use it forever if you really wanted to, but probably not. So yeah, so I just did a refresh there, and you can see it's now here. So my cool new site.wpengine.com, and it's just installed the latest version of WordPress and the latest theme, and obviously not much is happening. So the next thing we obviously need to do is kind of log in and point a domain name in and stuff. But this is what we're covering in this video here. You see, this is my old video I'm replacing. So create a site, yep, access site. So next step, we're going to access it. So if you didn't know, it's slash WP admin. Well, it's probably WP-login as well, but I always use WP admin. So here we go. Now, how do we log in? Well, we didn't get a password. If you check right here, it doesn't for security. Whoa, sorry about that. So for security reasons, it doesn't include the password in the email. It says please use a lost password link. So we're not even going to try because obviously it will fail horribly. So enter username and email. So username, it's easy to remember because the username for the default admin is the same as this. So I can copy and paste it. But I'm not that lazy yet. Hit get new password. And it's going to send me a link to here. We do a refresh. Of course, now it's email's going to take ages. We might have to do another tactical pause for this. And typically arrive just after I pause it. So here we go. Blah 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 blah. So reset your password. Hit here. Go. Right. Enter new password below. Now it's worth bearing in mind that because WP Engine really don't want your blog to get hacked, they ask you to use a strong password. Now, what is a strong password? You don't have to use 24 different numbers and digits, but it just has to be reasonably strong. Let me just try. Okay. There you go. So I got a strong. So if I'd done a medium or weak one, I'm not going to show you, but I'm pretty sure it would have moaned at me. The password has been reset. Log in. Yes. Save that. Just going to save that, so I have to remember it. So it was. Excuse me. All right. My cool new site. I always do that thing where I kind of say the password out loud as I'm typing it. Not that it really matters because I'll probably delete this sooner or later. Yes, no, go away. So here we are. We're now in the WordPress dashboard. This video is not to teach you WordPress, so there's other videos on the site if you want to check those out. eSanctuary.net, but I'm not going to go through all that. So here we are. We logged in. This is a standard WordPress dashboard. It's got one extra feature, this kind of control panel thing, which I'll come on to in a minute. It's kind of cool features in there, like resetting caches and things like that. So, but this video is going to show you how to get your basic site up and running. As you can see right now, if you go to settings, general, our domain name will be mycoolnewsite.wpengine.com. Now, assuming we own the mycoolnewsite.com, which actually we don't, you could go and change this immediately, but I wouldn't actually do that. What I would do is go and actually point your domain name to WP Engine first, and then come back and do this. If I'm just talking like tech crap and you have no idea what I'm talking about, that's fine. Just know that if you follow these steps with your hosting company, then you'll be fine. So I use hover.com, yes, hover, and not GoDaddy. If you use GoDaddy, it's okay. I don't judge. You know, we all make mistakes, but I'm going to show you my process with hover.com. It's very similar if you're with GoDaddy or something like that. What you got to do is find your domain name, and you just got to change a couple of settings in it to basically point to WP Engine, and that might start pointing at it almost immediately. It might take a couple of hours, but I'm going to show you guys. So the next thing for me to do, excuse me, sorry, is actually find a domain name I'm not using for anything right now. So I'm pretty sure I'm not using this leanwp.com. As you can see, I have far too many domain names I'm doing anything with. I think this is already going to be pointing at WP Engine, but I don't think I'm doing anything with it. Anyway, so before we get to that, go back to your control panel, go to WP Engine here on the top left. And I don't know why I'm scrolling. You see here, it gives you instructions. So if you have no clue what I'm talking about, you can follow these. But to make things simple, it says your DNS that's related to your domain name, if you weren't sure, should be either be set to CNAME, blah blah blah, or an A record to this. I prefer A record. And you can see the numbers here, so you could just copy this. Yeah, I'm copying this. And then I would have to go to here, and then you're looking for the A records. If there's no A records, you just create them. Bear in mind that after I do this, everything on if your domain is pointing to another site currently, it might go down for a second. So just be aware. So actually, I'm going to stop myself. One more step we should do before we do this really quickly is go back to the control panel. In WP Engine and go to domains, and we're going to add the domain in here first to sort of reduce the potential disruption. See, I'm catching myself as I'm doing it. So I wanted to use something that wasn't already pointing at WP Engine, but I think pretty much everything is. Actually, I don't think this one is. I just want to make this as kind of realistic for you guys as possible. Yeah, that's definitely not. So I've got this domain name chapmandavis.com, and I'm not doing anything with it. So this is going to be our domain name. So chapmandavis.com. Go back to the WP Engine dashboard, add new domain. Obviously, make sure if you've got multiple installs, you're under the right one. Okay, domain name can't be blank. Really. So we're going to go chapmandavis.com. Have additional domains to redirect this domain. Just one. This is like one thing. I'm sure you're aware, but you could have chapmandavis.com or www.chapmandavis.com. Obviously, you want both to work because some people will type one and type the other, but you need to figure out which one you want to be the default and then basically stick with it forever. It's not really a big deal. I'm someone who generally just chops off the www, as you can see there, just because it's shorter, but it's up to you. But just pick one and stick with it. So this is what I'm typing here is going to be the main one, chapmandavis.com. I'm going to redirect from the www version, and I'm just going to hit add domain. And also you could have more redirects or whatever later on. Here we go. So it's adding it now. Right, so here are primary domains, chapmandavis.com, and with a redirect, and this is our temporary domain it's set up. If we wanted to, we could redirect that as well to this one, but generally I'd suggest leaving it alone. So now we've told WP Engine to kind of expect this domain to receive traffic and to be associated with this install, but it still won't work. We still have to go and tell the domain name itself to go to WP Engine now. So this is where you go back to GoDaddy, whatever. No, don't feel bad if you GoDaddy, it's okay, but otherwise go hover and excuse me, sorry, I'm just being interrupted. And so find your domain in your list of domains, and then you see in hover you've got something called DNS. You'll have something similar in your thing, like name records or something it'll be called. And then I've got two. I've got @ and I've got this star. I need to change both of them. If you don't have these A records, you need to go and add them. So in hover that would be add new A record. Host name is the @ or the star, and the value is I'm going to show you this again because we touched on it earlier. But if I go back to my cool new site, wpengine.com, go to WP Engine here. I want this A record here. So for me, it's 96.126. But don't just copy mine because you might well be different. And so I'm not adding a new one. It's just much easier to edit the existing one. So I'm going to hit edit and copy paste over that and save and edit. It's an IP address in case you weren't sure. And save that. Okay, so now a couple of things. You could just wait and make sure it redirects. So I'm going to check just in case by some miracle it's done it immediately. Okay, well actually it has, but see that's the good people at Hover for you with the instant redirects. But uh, but if it hadn't or whatever, you want to wait, then you can come back and do this last step. But for me, it's done it already, so that's cool. We've set it up, but we just need to do one last setup to kind of set it up properly. So if we go to back to our dashboard, our WordPress dashboard, and go to settings, general, and we're just going to change these two things to the primary domain we set, which if you remember was chapmandavis.com, and again, and save it. Okay, and it's going to force us to log in and log out, which is fine. So if you remember, our username was Michael. I think it was anyway. Just going to log in. So as you can see, bam, it exists. It's the right URL. We go to the home page. You can see it's working. Sample page, blah blah blah. And this, I think this kind of concludes everything. It looks like we have. Just the one last thing to point out is you can point multiple domains. So if you owned, let's say you owned, if we go back to here, you can see what I've got primary domains. So if you own chapmandavis.net, for example, and you just wanted to redirect it to .com, you would again go and do the same steps in Hover or whatever, change the DNS records, come back here, and then you just want to add it as a redirect to this. So you just type, and you do the www as well, probably hit add domain, redirect. You can see it'll be underneath. So it's just worth putting, so that would, whatever the URL would automatically find the correct one on the primary domain, and that's it.